Welcome back to the Mind and Money podcast. I'm Val, a financial planner.
And I'm Sherry, a financial coach. And today we are diving into ideal client and your niche and a little bit of the how and why it's important as a business owner. And narrowing down my niche, my ideal client, was something that I resisted early in my business because I thought, well, the narrower I get, the more limiting it's going to be for my business and the fewer people that are going to want to work with me. And I can just say overwhelmingly that that was complete bullshit, because the narrower and more focused I've got with who my ideal client is, the better clients that I have connected with, the more people that fall into that niche have reached out to me. And it's almost like, I can't think of a good analogy. I'm sure you'll be able to think of a great one, but it's kind of like you're narrowing down the who, but you're expanding like the borders of the who. So for me, I can work with clients all over the world. So it's more of like those ideal clients are finding me because they are folks with ADHD, or they're entrepreneurs with service-based businesses with ADHD, and they're connecting versus that smaller pool of people that are like a wide range of people that don't fall into who my ideal client is.
I see a field of horses, and originally you're like, I help all horses put their horseshoes on. And then all these horses are like, okay, cool. Well, a lot of people do that. So like, we'll see who our owner books. And then you're like, you got clear and you said, I help show horses that are Clydesdales put their hooves on. I know it's
They're hooves. They're horseshoes.
Yeah, but there's blacksmiths. There's hoof farrier. That's what they're called, farriers. And then you were that expert. People, instead of being a lighthouse to all the ships, you only wanted a certain type of ship. So you put on a blue light, and they're like, oh yes, we are the blue light ships. We will come to you.
Val delivers 7 analogies.
So
the blue light was so much brighter, and ships could see from all across the ocean.
Yes. And as that niche down, I had the same thing. I was really resistant to it because
I just want to help people.
And when you try to help everyone, you help no one. Or when you try to do everything, you can't do anything. You can't be for everyone, or you'll be for no one. But there was so many exercises and seminars or whatever that I would listen to. And it's like, location, demographic, age, sex. Are they in a certain industry? And none of that ever worked. None of that ever felt good for me. I wasn't like, I'm working with doctors in the GTA, or I only work with lawyers that have just come out of school. That never worked for me. So then I was resisting having a niche because I was like, well, I can't. I love working with this person and she's 65, and I love working with this person, they're at 22, but they live in different places. Like I couldn't wrap it all into one. But what I came to understand is that I focused better on their intentions, how trusting they would be, the relationship that they wanted to have. I'm going back to like less rigid, but more of like, were the vibes good?
And
vibe check.
Overwhelmingly, the people that fall into my ideal client, the vibes have to be there. The vibes have to be there because
Yes.
I don't want to spend months working with somebody when I'm about to like sign into a meeting with them, and I'm just like, okay, I have to spend an hour with this person.
You are also very good and a very early adopter of, when you were that blue lighthouse, you also shouted and said, this is who Sherry is. If you don't like ye, don't book ye. So no one made a mistake of being like, oh, hey, if they didn't like you, they're crazy. But no one was confused about who you were.
Yeah.
So you use social media as your podium to share, and that it's that like, now trust. I like you, I get to know you, and I trust you, and then I book with you.
Val's voice every time she's like saying something that's the business advice that we've heard a million times before. But yeah, I swear on social media, wear my pajamas, I wear comfy clothes, I show up with my hair all a mess. I've done videos in bathrobes, post-workout, all sweaty. I just show up how I am, because those are, well, I've never shown up in a client meeting in a bathrobe. I have shown up post-workout.
Still got time.
I do like to cut it very close in true ADHD fashion to, oh, I have a client in 17 minutes and I need to shower. And I have a client in 7 minutes and I should shower, but don't got time for that. So.
And as a financial planner coming from, so like, I feel like the coaching industry came from a more casual route. The financial planner route came from a suit, a shiny car, like
an old bald white dude in a suit.
Yes, and you were showing up with a briefcase, and maybe there was personality once
Oh my
you
God, I should
got
have
into the
taken a picture
meeting
of you this morning when you showed up at my house.
with all my stuff.
Because that's classic Val. And it's lovely. And it's just like she had all the things she needed. She was balancing them all in her hands.
If I went to a client's house, I would have had a bag, okay?
But it's just like leaning into being who you are.
Yes.
And so many of the things that I do, you quote unquote shouldn't do as a business owner. You shouldn't swear. You shouldn't share a lot of your personal life. You definitely shouldn't share your political values, but I be sharing that shit because I do not want to work with people who
do not align.
Political values these days are not a agree to disagree situation.
And I can recall meeting with a client, and I love meeting with him. We have great conversations. And he was saying, the business, and when you were in business, you needed to have an expensive pen, and you looked at people's shoes to see, like that was success. And
I wouldn't even know expensive shoes if somebody kicked me in the face with them.
Nor an expensive pen at all. So it was very interesting how like different generations. And I remember wearing jeans. So in the office, way back when, especially at the bank, no jeans. I actually got in trouble for dress code with the bank.
You were not meant to work at the bank.
It was just trying to show me. It was just like,
yeah. And we touched on this a little bit, but some of the how of niching down. So we've shared the value of why we believe it's important, and the narrower I got, the easier my business got because they were more ideal clients. They came to me, they were attracted to me based on what I put out there.
So if you're in business, I think a great practice is to reflect on who you've enjoyed working with or not enjoyed working with. Why? What from them has been good or bad? What do you want to have more of? If you're brand new to business, what does that vision look like? That meeting that you're excited for, who's at the table, who's on the other side of the screen? You can envision it and create it and spend time, like technology off, just with you and your little brain and your heart, and think about, who am I here to work with?
And look for connecting threads. So you were saying there was people that you love to work with of varying age demographics and varying professions. So look for the common threads. And earlier in businesses is harder to do, but when you've worked with even a handful of clients, starting to look and see what are those common threads, listing out the people you've worked with, giving them a score from 1 to 10 in different areas of, were they easy to work with? Do they have alignment with certain values? And look for those less traditional things when it comes to narrowing down your niche. Maybe all of the people you've worked with, they all had certain values that align with yours when it comes to, maybe it's politics, maybe it's life, maybe raising kids and philosophies on profession. So look for those things that they have that,
or common problems too.
Yeah, that's a good one too. So if you're looking for people, like for us, it's like helping people with debt, helping people in different stages of life, and people can be different ages and be in different stages of life. So there are people like, a lot of the friends my age, they have kids high school going into university, whereas I have a full grown ass adult. So the ages of the client isn't necessarily representative of the stage that they're in.
And what attitude are they bringing to the interaction? Yes, it might be stress and overwhelm, but are they willing to take feedback,
put in the
make
work,
changes, put in the work? Yes.
Yeah, and really figure out, one of the big indicators when you start to think about who you prefer to work with is, how did you feel going into that session with them? How did you feel leaving? Yeah.
And I need to do some time with this.
And then start to pull those threads and figure out, what do they have in common? And then the next challenge is, how do you speak to those ideal clients if they have less traditional ideal client qualities, because that's a big
Mhm.
part of it too. And listening to what they say is a big part of learning how to market to those clients and knowing where to find them. So,
With them.
yeah, it's really, I think it's something I resisted for a long time, but narrowing down who you want to work with is good for your bottom line, but also your mental health.
And then
in
we
your
got to do a
business.
whole episode on saying no to the ones that don't.
And how to attract your ideal client and
Yeah.
repel your unideal clients, because that's important too. And having the confidence to say no to a client or to fire a client is also very powerful. But a lot of that comes with the foundation of the financial part of it. Because if you don't know your numbers and you feel scarcity around money and you don't feel like you have enough, it's going to lead you to say yes to a lot of things you don't want to. And we don't want that energy
No,
for
we
you.
do
So
not.
cheers
Break that
to
cycle.
narrowing down your ideal clients, figuring out what those common threads are, and using that to grow your business as much as you want to, not as much as society wants you to. So we look forward to future episodes on ideal clients. And if you've got any questions, you know how to reach us.
Signing off, Sherry and Val.
We'll see you next time.